School cafeterias, as we know them, will be unrecognizable when they reopen. More than 80% of them now offer food via drive-through pickup, and over half have walk-up services. Most won't resume regular operations for months, if they do at all. We spoke with 4 school nutrition directors from school districts across the U.S., including Houston, Minneapolis, Kansas City, and San Francisco. All of them are facing shifting realities and a future they can't begin to predict.
So the new reality is everything that we worked so hard for to provide the best quality food, the best food in school for our students has now transitioned to basically meal kits for them to take and eat at home.
Right now in our COVID world, we are operating at 18 distribution locations throughout our city, and we're serving approximately 160,000 meals per week. So we are also partnering with 7 CBO locations throughout the city. And then we are also doing door-to-door distribution as well.
We're having curbside pickup for our students and our families. What you have to do is you don't even have to bring the kids. You just have to identify that you have your report card or student ID number or something. What I like about it is that I can feed other kids in other locales who, maybe their school district is close to mine or borders on mine. So it's closer to coming to one of my sites than it is to go to one of their own sites.
While many school districts have found temporary solutions, nobody's really sure how to make long-term plans. And as they get ready for virtual summer classes, nutrition directors are plotting for the fall, with reduced budgets, fewer workers, and new safety protocols.
So we're not just feeding meals to San Francisco Unified School District children, we're feeding children throughout the city, and we're doing this in the middle of a pandemic. And so they're taking their own lives in their hands every single day to be doing this work, and then they're going home to their own families. And, we are taking every necessary precaution that we know about, but then with COVID-19, things keep evolving.
We took a position that if you wanted to feed kids during this pandemic, you had to feed families, because it's the kid doesn't come to us just hungry. He came from a food insecure household. It's one thing to feed one child, but that child has returned to a household where there's intergenerational poverty, there's all sorts of things going over. And have we really dealt with the hunger in the community just by feeding the child?
Safety precautions are being taken seriously, but specific measures vary from district to district.
All of our staff is wearing face coverings, both within the nutrition center and at pickup sites. We really stress the fact that if they're not comfortable coming to work, to let us know that we will not force them to come to work.
Well, one of the things you'll find out about food service directors and school food is that we're creative anyway. And so we just have to be, it's the nature of the beast, if you will, when it comes to school food. And COVID-19 has been no exception. San Francisco is unique in this state where instead of a drive-up service, we're doing a walk-up service. All of our distribution models are at street level. And so a lot of the street level locations that we have are next to garbage cans. I said, absolutely not. We can't do that. We're providing a service for our entire city. And so we're not going to provide free food next to a garbage dumpster. So you have to be very creative about where those things are, because again, you're in San Francisco, right? So you have to look for something that's not on a hill. It's a flat, good luck finding a flat level in San Francisco, right? So there is a lot of things that we had to do to look for those types of locations.
One of our culinary supervisor actually does videos of how to use the mailboxes. So kind of opening up the creativity to our students and family so they're not stuck with that box. I think that has been one of the most creative things that we've done with the new meals.
School food budgets are always tight, but in addition to training staff virtually and maintaining safe working conditions on site, nutrition directors now have to factor in additional costs for personal protective equipment.
We have a large department, nearly 200 employees just in food services alone. So one by one, we've had conversations just to do a general assessment of, hey, do you have any underlying conditions that you may you may need to be mindful of? And do you understand the risk and what we're asking you? Because most importantly, a part of supporting our community is keeping our workforce strong. So with that, we've pretty much reduced our staff by 42%.
Because the pandemic has put financial strains on so many families, some households that previously didn't rely on free lunch are now accessing school food resources. Some schools are providing meals not just to families inside their districts, but to the wider community too.
It's really hard to say what kind of families are accessing our resources because we're feeding everybody and we're not keeping track. So when children were actually coming to the meal distribution sites at the beginning of this process, because the USDA did require that children be present at the beginning, they could tell us that they were seeing different people. But now we're not sure.
I was talking to a lady who was a customer service rep who never thought that she would have to come to a pickup for food, but she got laid off. So like I said, it's not just the poor, it's the soon to be poor.
So without question, we've just done everything we can to remove the barrier. We're not asking what school you're at. We're not asking where do you live. So by removing some of those social stigmas and those data collection points away from our food distribution site, we've just been able to open up our doors and serve the community as a whole. And we found that is the best approach to reaching our families and encouraging participation.
In response to COVID-19, USDA issued waivers that allow schools to provide lunch services to all students through the end of the summer, not just to those in low-income areas. But nobody knows if USDA will extend the waiver into the fall. This makes budgeting for the coming year nearly impossible.
We are going to need more waivers from the United States Department of Agriculture. I am personally advocating that our waivers that we have in place right now get extended until there's a cure for COVID or an effective vaccine. I think that's the only way that we can continue to operate. Otherwise, there will continue to be uncertainty in the food security around schools.
How kids will pay for meals, whether they'll eat in the classrooms, who will clean up, all of these details remain up in the air. But amid the uncertainty, school nutrition staffers say they felt closer to their communities than ever before. Local volunteers, including teachers, administrative staff, and families, have also stepped in to support food distribution efforts.
We've seen such a widespread support from the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs. They are located right here in our backyard, and they have been tremendously supportive and with donations and financial resources. We've had several nonprofits all around the cities. I've even had several emails from just community members who have made financial contributions to the district to support our efforts. It really has grown. We've started out of just trying to provide breakfast and lunch, and it has expanded to we're able to support those USDA meal pattern requirements with breakfast and lunch, but we also are able to, through donations, send families home with full ingredients from meal kits.
The relationship that I formed with other not-for-profits like the food bank, we never knew that we had so much in common until we were called upon to respond to this pandemic in such a way, sharing resources. One of the positive things that happened for me was that I had USDA commodities. I had truckloads of commodities, like 16 truckloads of commodities, that the state of Texas allowed me to sign a title of those commodities over to the food bank, so they no longer became school meal commodities, but they became TFAC commodities. So that put more USDA product into the pipeline.
And we're really lucky in my industry. We share information with each other. And so I learned from fellow directors and we share knowledge with each other so that we're never in silos, where I think a lot of other industries like to keep secrets, like institutional secrets or company secrets. We're not like that in school food. We always are willing to share, and we're always willing to reach out to each other and then give that information.
What exactly school lunch will look like next year still depends on the shape of our recovery. Only one thing is certain right now. Our economy is going to take a long time to recover. Families will be relying on school meals more than ever.